Almost there, going to get started in just a minute. All right, everyone, we're going to get started, and hopefully anybody that's still coming can join in and enjoy the show. Welcome, everyone. For those that know me, hi, everyone. For those that don't, my name's John Hico. I'm the General Manager for Illumicare Group, located here in sunny Newmarket, Ontario, Canada. And I've been in the lighting business for landscape lighting business for 22 years. I had a background in stage and studio lighting and landscape construction. So that's how kind of I got into this business and my kind of angle on the business here. I'm joined today by Raymond Josefian and Anthony Lacaruba. And Raymond, Anthony, you guys want to unmute yourselves and say hello?
Sure. Thank you, John. Thanks for everybody for coming and being a part of this. My name is Raymond Josefian. I manage the sales at Illumicare. I'm in the industry because I'm incredibly passionate about lighting. I've been working as a contractor for 1 year with a distribution ship for 10 years and as a manufacturer sales manager for 19 years. Pardon me, 29 years. I joined Illumicare 10 years ago when it first started, and I joined Illumicare for the people who were involved in it, and because I believe we could make a difference. We could come up with quality product that was niche to the market and price it well and affordable. And I'm here to help you at any given time. And next is my colleague, Anthony.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining. My name is Anthony Lacaruba. I'm the Northeast Territory Manager. I live in Long Island, New York. I've been in the green industry for 20 years and in lighting for 13, 7 of them being with Illumicare. Prior to that, I was with Nightscaping. So I'm going to pass it over to John and get this thing started.
Hey, all right, back to me. So what we have going on here, let me see if I can get this slideshow going here. And there we go. Not much of a slideshow, really. Most of this is going to be live and in person, but just wanted to go through what we're going to go through in this webinar. So we started off with the introductions. We're into the overview. I'm going to touch just very briefly on Astra timers. I know most of you are probably here for the Wi-Fi RF portion. Certainly, we're going to spend most of the time on that, but sometimes an Astra timer, sometimes a photocell is what the job requires. So I'm just going to very briefly touch on the Astra timers, and we're going to get into the Wi-Fi RF and go through it from start to finish, from setting up the app, setting up devices, doing a site survey, setting up in different mode, how to set up families and administrators, and then setting up some controls and automations. So hopefully by the end of this, you will have a complete understanding or more complete understanding of Wi-Fi RF controls and how to add them into your business. So without further ado, I'm going to switch kind of cameras here and get into showing you a little bit about some of the products here. All right. So first we're going to talk about Astro timers, and so we have a standalone astronomical timer that you can just plug into your transformer. I'm just going to move this camera up. Sorry if that's giving you kind of vertigo there. So standalone astronomical timer has 4 different modes. So you have your manual on-off mode. You have an auto mode, which is uses an internal photocell here. So dusk till dawn. You have a basic timer set up, so timed on, timed off, and then you have your Astro timer, which automatically adjusts itself throughout the year by your geolocation. Comes on when you at sunset. You can set it to go off at sunrise or set it to go off at any given time. So that's the Astro timer. That is also included, if I'm just going to back up the camera here for a second. And I'll straighten that up in a minute. That is also included inside a 200 watt transformer. So this is a new transformer for us, 200 watt transformer, 2 taps, 12 and 15 volts. And as you can see, these are a lever nut terminal, so toolless terminals, 3 connections per each voltage output, plus the 3 commons, and that has that basically identical astronomical timer built right into it. So Wi-Fi controls are great, but they're not for everyone, and we'll get into a little bit about how you can basically how you figure out if Wi-Fi RF is going to be a candidate for your site. So Astro timers, getting now into the Wi-Fi, and we're going to start off with getting into the app. There we go. And I've got my phone connected here. So I'm going to actually log out and start in here from the beginning. Just to get a little idea here, Raymond's going to pop up a little poll on your screen there. I just want to get an idea of how tech savvy our audience is here. So Raymond, do you have controls there? You can get the poll going.
Sorry, John, I don't have the control to get the poll.
All right. I'm going to launch a poll for you. And just get an idea how what your level of comfort is on the technology side. There's 2 factors in setting up a Wi-Fi control system for your customers. One is your level of comfort with Wi-Fi smart controls. Another factor is your customer's level of comfort with Wi-Fi and smart controls. So either could make it a possible candidate. All right, so cancel here. So we're sharing the results here. Can everybody see the results on the screen there, I hope? So most of the people here, it seems like they they know. There's a few speak TCP/IP. That's awesome. None of you are the tech gods that Sheldon would bow to. So hopefully we all have a little bit to learn here, and this will carry along for you. But glad to see we don't have any flip phone pager guys in the audience here. So I'm going to be speaking a little bit tech. So you'll be able to follow along, hopefully. All right, so back on the app here. So once you've downloaded the app, basically logging in, setting up first. If you've never done it before, you sign up for an account. Basically, just ask you for your email, privacy policy, and log in, sign up, and away you go. We're going to log in right now. The facial recognition, thankfully, working. Doesn't work too well with a mask on, found that out. All right. So what we got going on here basically is the app here. We're going to go through setting up all the individual devices and what they all do. So I'm going to switch back here to the camera screen. We've got the app there. Download from the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store. So we've got a bunch of different devices that you can control through the app in the smart controls. So first one is the just a regular smart switch. This just plugs right into the transformer, and then the transformer wire plugs into that. So very simple control inside the transformer. Second, we have the Wi-Fi outdoor smart switch. So this comes with 3 different outlets on it. Outdoor IP44 rated, just plugs into the outlet, and then you can control up to 3 separate transformers or 3 different devices, whatever they may be. You can control, have one for your landscape lighting, one for a fountain, one for holiday lighting, whatever you like, and you can group them together or control them individually. So that's hooked up over here. We have that running there, outdoor. Then we get into the Merlin system. So what we have is our Merlin RX. That's a Merlin receiver. This little device controls the 12-volt secondary side of your landscape lighting transformer. Does not need connection to 120 volt. Is IP rated and can go out in the field. And very simple connection on it here. Sorry, just getting on the angle there. Input, output, very simple 2-wire connection. So you've got your line in from your transformer and your line out to your load. And that's connected over here. And we are running our little Rowan fixture off of that. And finally, in the product lineup, we have the, and don't worry guys, we're going to get a little bit more into these in the device setup. But finally in the product here, we have the Merlin Hub. So the Merlin RX that I was talking about is a direct Wi-Fi control. So you can control it directly from the app and have individual control over the secondary side of your transformer. You can control up to 300 watts, 25 amps through that switch. So you can control an entire transformer, or you can have multiple zones on a transformer and it can be wired anywhere in line. The further you go, obviously from the house, you have less of a Wi-Fi signal, which is one of the limitations of Wi-Fi systems. That's where in comes the Merlin Hub. So this little device goes inside your home, basically just connects to power anywhere you have a good Wi-Fi signal inside your home. And then this transmits via radio frequency to the Merlin receiver. So now we have the convenience of the Wi-Fi control and programming with the long range of the radio frequency. We rate it at 300 meters or 1,000 feet line of sight. I've actually tested it over 500 meters, 1,500 feet, and through walls and buildings. So we're very conservative on our ratings on that. So those are all the devices. I'm going to go through device setup in a little bit, but those are the devices that we're going to be talking about here today. The thing is, and I mentioned that the Wi-Fi signal is that's the Achilles heel, basically, of the smart control systems. Whether you have a strong Wi-Fi signal will determine how many of these you can use. I should have noted earlier on, and I apologize for this, and some of you probably figured it out. Ask questions as we go along in the chat panel. Raymond and Anthony are there to answer your questions. I unfortunately won't be able to see them until the end, but Raymond and Anthony can ask as we go along, or let me know if there's any pertinent questions that need to be asked right away. We will also have a Q&A session at the end of this webinar. So moving right along, the Wi-Fi signal. This is a critical piece in setting up a Wi-Fi system, and this is one of the requirements where you would say either it's going to work or it's not going to work, and there's different ways of going about it. As was mentioned in the IA panel, it's magical what these apps can do, but they're not magic. And you need to set up a good foundation and have a good backbone and make sure that you can run these devices. So second poll coming out here. And Raymond, do you have control of polls yet? You do. Okay, can you run the second poll there? I just want to see what operating system people are on. So I personally run Android devices. I also have an iOS, an iPad, but for my phones, my mobiles, I run Android. Okay. So it looks like most of you are on iOS. So I will definitely show that. It's unfortunate. But I will show both systems on how to test for Wi-Fi signal. So one of the first things I would do as a contractor is I would make sure, A, that there's a strong signal, and B, know where the signal is strongest, doing like a site survey. You can also, some people call that heat mapping, but do a site survey and find out where your Wi-Fi signal is strongest. So I'm going to stop sharing the results there and just switch screens here again. And hopefully I get connected here to my iPad. There we go. All right. So there's only one app that you can use on iOS to test Wi-Fi signal strength, and that is called Airport Utility. So in Airport Utility, you open it up, and at the top right corner, you should see something called Wi-Fi scan. If you don't see that, you have to go into settings and enable Wi-Fi scanning in your settings for the app. So when you hit Wi-Fi scan, what you get is a list of all the Wi-Fi signals that your iOS device can pick up. So I'm running this Merlin setup here on my Bell 850A, and I can see I'm on channel 6, oops, apologies, I'm on channel 6 and I've got a signal strength of minus 31 dBm. The lower the number, the better the signal. To pair these devices, you want to be somewhere in around the minus 60, minus 65 dBm range. They'll operate in the minus 80, minus 90 range, but you want to be in the minus 60 range there to do the initial pairing. So good information to know where your signal strength is best around the home. I was at a job in Sarnia last year where we had a number of the Merlin receivers that were in a pool shed. And inside the pool shed, there was a fairly weak signal. It was around minus 85, minus 90. It was enough to operate them, but not enough to pair them. So what we did with the contractor was go closer to the house, hook up a transformer by the back deck where we had a stronger signal, minus 65. We did the programming there and then installed them in the pool shed and everything worked. Saves you a lot of time over installing them in the shed and then trying to program them to pair them and finding out it doesn't work and have to disconnect everything. So if you set the groundwork, it's very easy to go through and see where it's going to work and how it's going to work. I'm going to switch over and show you the Android version now. And on the Android, oops, sorry, I'll get out of there. There we go. On the Android app, I use, and there's a number of different apps that you can use, but on the Android devices, I use one called Wi-Fi Analyzer. And I like it because it gives me a good graphical representation of all the signals in the area. So what this does, not only gives me a visual of the signal strength, and you can see my Bell 850A there is pretty high, between minus 40, minus 50 here, but you can also see what else is on the same channel. So this is important. If you have a weaker signal and there's something else on the same channel with a stronger signal, you might run into some interference problems. So you want to be wary of that and just be aware. You can ask the homeowner to change the channels and go to a frequency that's a little less crowded and operate off of there. Again, just knowing the information and knowing where you run into problems can save you a lot of issues on the back end after everything's installed. I'm probably spending a little more time on this than I had originally allotted, but I think this is really critical information to go through and be able to kind of know what your site is like before you even recommend Wi-Fi, and definitely before you set it up and install it. So like I said, we're going to have a Q&A session at the end as well. If you have any further questions on the Wi-Fi analyzer and how to apply that, we'll definitely be able to answer some of those questions. I would also say this: if your comfort level is not there to be doing this or having this conversation with your homeowner, hook yourself up with an IT specialist, somebody who does home Wi-Fi setups, and have them bring them in as a consultant, bring them in as a subcontractor, and utilize that. You know, you're running a business. You might not be able to do everything your business needs. You might need to hire a tree climber. You might need to hire a stonemason. Having a Wi-Fi smart systems analyst, not a bad idea either. So we're going to go through now and do actually some device setup. So while I'm on the app here, I'm going to get into back in my Illumismart app. I'm going to remove a device and set it up again. So I'm going to take out this smart socket here. Sorry, I'm going to take out this one. Loading up. And just for fun, I'm going to wipe that one out. Okay, that device has been removed. That's my little smart socket in here. So now I'm going to go through and show it, basically just show you how to set up a device. So from your home screen here, if you press the little plus in the top right corner, brings up the next screen. You're adding a Wi-Fi socket Wi-Fi. It'll look different maybe on iOS, but in that range. Okay, allow Illumismart to access the location. Let me just make sure I'm on the right, and I am not here connected to the right Wi-Fi. All right. You're all going to see my Wi-Fi password now. I'm going to change it after we leave. Okay. So as you can see, video walks you through how to set up the device. So very easy. I'm going to press and hold the button on the device for 5 seconds until I get a blinking light. Okay, got a blinking light. I'm actually going into a different mode here. My apologies. Let's go back here. I was going to go into this later, but we're going into AP mode. So AP mode is a different way of connecting. Not sure how many of you know about band steering. So band steering is when your Wi-Fi router combines the 2.4 gigahertz and the 5 gigahertz signal into one SSID. All of these devices require 2.4 gigahertz band to operate. And the reason for that is 2.4 gigahertz has 3 times the distance and the ability to go through walls as 5 gigahertz does. 5 gigahertz is great for speed, great for bandwidth. We don't need either of those to operate these devices. We're sending a very small data packet and we don't need it to go very quickly. Sorry, here we go. So I'm going to talk as we're going through this here. So the Wi-Fi signal 2.4 gigahertz, most routers, I've not seen one yet that does not have dual band, although sometimes they are, like I said, they have band steering on, so you only see one SSID. On mine at home, I have them set up separately, so I have one for 2.4 and one for 5 gigahertz. Connected. Make sure my light's still flashing. There we go. I got some flashes there. And I've got my mini smart socket added. So going through this way, this is how you would add it if you're having trouble with your Wi-Fi signal. And Raymond and I went through this with a customer not too long ago, where they had band steering on. Their phone was connected to the 5 gigahertz network and they couldn't add the device because their phone is on the 5 gigahertz and this device needs 2.4 gigahertz. So going through that AP mode allows you to connect directly. Basically what you're doing is you're putting this device as an access point and then connecting to it directly and then telling it where the 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi is. So now we have the mini smart socket. I can change the name here. And I can assign it to a room if I like here, and then done. And now I have control over that smart socket. And let me just switch my screen share here for a second. There we go, and you can see the Devices going off and on there. Via the smart socket there. So setting up a device, a couple of different ways to do it: direct Wi-Fi connection or through the AP mode through an access point. While I'm in the app here, I'm going to show you about families. So as a contractor, what I would do, I would have the app on my phone and I would set up all of my new customers on my phone first. I wouldn't grab the homeowner's phone and be using that and setting up devices and setting things up. I would set up the home on my phone first and then transfer the home ownership to the homeowner. So I'm in Joan's residence right now. I can create a new home here, add a home name, set the location, start a new home for the homeowner, use their last name or whatever you might for that, and set up a new home. As you can see, sorry, I'm going to share it back to screen again. Here we go. So click on the top here with the name of the home, home management, and you can create a new home. You can join a home if you've been invited. As you can see, I'm in multiple homes. A lot of these belong to people I've been helping troubleshoot. So they invite me as an administrator into their home, and I can go in and I can see all of their devices. So if I'm a contractor, this is what I'm doing. I'm setting up the home, the system as a new home. And then I can just go in and later on I can transfer the home ownership. So I'm in as a homeowner. I have somebody else as an administrator. I can add another member to the home. So I would add the homeowner into the home as an administrator. Invite them into the home. Once they're in, once they're comfortable, once they've seen the app and they've gone through the programming, then transfer the home ownership to them. Now they have control over that. They can leave you in as an administrator. They can remove you if they like. And you know, if they need help from you anytime down the road, they can add you back in as an administrator, and you can go in and check their devices and check their settings and whatnot. So that's families and admin. Pretty simple, straightforward. That's how I would set it up. You might have a different way that works for you. Sorry, notification popping up there. Thought I turned all those off. Anyways, so that's the app with the families and admin. We're going to go through and look at how to set up some automations now as well. And again, if you have any more detailed questions on these, we have a Q&A period coming up. We can certainly run through that. So there's two types of automations that we can set up here. One is a tap to run, and one is more of an automation. So a tap to run is a very simple, you're basically creating a little switch that controls multiple devices with one tap. And very easy to set up. This way, we're going to launch a tap to run. We're going to say run the device, and I'm going to say we want our smart socket switch on. And then I want also to have our Merlin switch on. Okay. And I'm gonna just call this, I know I didn't select all the devices, but for now I'm just gonna call this all on. So you can use this to create an all on, all off. Save. Now on my home screen, I've got an all on button, so I can all on, and then I can go all off. Simple button that combines everything into one, and you can combine groups of things. So very easy to do, easy for the homeowner. You can combine multiple devices. Next is an automation. So an automation is a little bit different. We're going to create a new one. Sorry, I thought we're still on, we're on automation now. Okay, so what we're going to do here, we're going to do device status changes. Sorry, set condition. We're going to select a smart. Where are we here? Oh, sorry, I turned off notifications there. You can have it to set up to notify you as well when you're running a new, if you run into any problems. I get notifications, unfortunately, from a bunch of different homes that devices are offline or things didn't run. So I can check on that from in here. Okay, so we can set these up on a schedule. We can set these up on an Astro. We can you can do weather changes, sunset, sunrise. You can do it with wind speed, all kinds of things. For now, we're just going to do this as a sunset program. And again, you can vary it 5 minutes before, 5 minutes after, 10 minutes after. You can vary that setting as well if the sunset you find isn't quite early enough for you or is too early. You can change that in the app. We're going to go next, and I'm going to say run the device. I'm going to do the same ones. Smart socket on, and I'm going to also add my Merlin here. Smart socket on, and I'm going to call this one, because that's a big long name, if sunset, sunrise. I'm just going to call this sunset. So anything I want to happen at sunset, I would put into this, oops, sorry, press the button there. I would put into this automation. Okay. And that basically save that. Okay, so now I have an automation called sunset, and at sunset, those two devices will turn on. I would set another one to have things go off at a certain time or at sunrise. Usually we'd have something going off on a schedule. So I'm going to set it up, say for 23:30 for 11:30. You notice at the top there, repeat once, so you can set up different days of the week. I'm going to set it up for every day. And I'm going to say I want now the smart socket switch to go off. And I want the Merlin to go off. And I'm going to call this bedtime. Okay, so we've got two automations now. Sunset, the devices are going to come on. 11:30, the devices are going to go off. And that's going to happen every day. And then we also have our tap to run if the homeowner wants. All on, all off, you can create. And they can run things manually that way. All right. So I didn't go through, and I'm going to go through kind of setting up the Merlin hub as well. So the Merlin hub, and I've got it set up in here. Just let it load. So the Merlin hub has actually 6 switches on it, so you can control 6 devices. Sorry, you can control 6 groups of devices with the switches. Each switch can control 16 devices. So 6 times 16, you've got quickly 96 devices you can control with the Merlin hub. Again, this is the hybrid bridge between the Wi-Fi and the radio frequency. So I've already got this programmed in by radio frequency to control. Let me flip over here to my camera. And sorry, that's getting a burp right there. But I've got this set to control this device through the RF here. Setting up the Merlin hub. for radio frequency is very easy, and I'll just quickly run through that. Excuse me, just while I slide through here. So on the side of the Merlin there, you can see you've got 2 LED indicator lights and a little button here. So a single press on the button, the light flashes 2 times. And then on the back of the Merlin hub, 5 quick presses on the button here. And the light on here flashes. And then basically you're set up, the Merlin hub is now set up to control that RX by radio frequency. So we got off and on. We're going through the Merlin hub on radio frequency. So I think we've spent a lot of time on that. I think we can go back and cover some of the stuff off in the Q&A period. And sorry, I can't see if any questions are coming up here. But we will go through that. Now that we spent 40 minutes together and kind of got to know everyone, Raymond's going to put out another poll here, because and this is very important. We really have to know this. Well, that is surprising. Really. I'll do you the favor. I won't stand up and show you what I'm wearing on the bottom. I'm sure Raymond and Anthony will stay seated as well. We're all professionals here. So we ran through a lot of information really quickly. We're going to switch over and go to a kind of a Q&A period. I'm going to open up the chat box here, and we can start taking questions from the audience here. Redek, I hope I pronounced that right. Yes, we will definitely send you literature about the new products. We had questions coming out here, so I'm just going back and reading some of the questions here. Did everybody get an answer for all the previous questions that you know of, Raymond?
John, there's a couple of questions that came up that we have not answered yet. Chad asked, he said that minus 60 dBm is best for pairing. Yes. What range is best for operations?
Well, the best for operations is as good a signal as you can get. The minimum for operation is about a minus 85, minus 90. That would be a minimum. But the best is as good as you can get. If you have minus 30, minus 20, that's the best. The lower the number, the better.
Okay, thank you, John.
Okay.
And Stefan also asked, need a separate tap to run button created for an all off?
Yes, so I only created the all on tap to run, but yes, if you I would definitely, and I was running through that, but I would definitely set up. And let me just see if I can, I'm gonna swap back here to my phone for a second. Yeah, so I would definitely go in and I would create another tap to run on these for an off. And we're gonna add another one. Run the device, Merlin off. And we're gonna just call this all off. So I would, and not everybody wants this. Some homeowners would be perfectly happy to just have their lighting system controlled automatically, but some want that manual control. And then that shows on the home screen as well, all on, all off. I would do this just to give them an easy, quick way to do it,
Okay.
for sure. But be wary of what you're controlling as well. You know, as I put in the smart socket here and the Merlin, I didn't do the outdoor smart socket because that might be controlling something like a fountain, that might be controlling holiday lights that you might not want to go on with the all on, all off. So the names of those might change.
Okay. John, I'm just going to answer Jason Fleming's question. Are these tutorials available for programming and setup procedures? Yes, John was kind enough to get together a YouTube channel for us, and Jennifer Neal helped as well. And all these and more are available if you search Illumicare Group Limited on YouTube, and you'll see all kinds of videos that will be very helpful in procedures, programming, troubleshooting. There's so many answers there, it's unbelievable. Next, John, if you can answer Ryan Jaso's question, give me a scenario where people would use the Merlin RX hub.
The Merlin hub?
Yes.
Sure, yeah. So lots of scenarios for that. Basically anywhere where you're not going to be able to get a good Wi-Fi signal. So if you're in a situation where you have a pool shed that's at the back of a large property, if you want to control a gazebo, dock lighting that's a few hundred feet away from a house or cottage, those would all be kind of good areas to use the hub. Basically anywhere where you're not getting a good solid Wi-Fi signal and can't improve or don't want to improve the Wi-Fi signal. I'm just going to go to my screen here and go to
Mike, you ask, is the Merlin 2.0 fully outdoor rated? Yes, sir. It certainly is. Reddick, we will definitely send you the pricing and a brochure for all these products. And Frank, as far as how to get a hold of Anthony will get a hold of you quicker than you can get a hold of him right after the seminar.
I just want to touch on something. I'm going to go off camera here for a quick second, grab something off my desk. The Merlin hub is a great option if you're into Wi-Fi, a Wi-Fi setting where you're not getting a good signal. You can also recommend to the homeowner, like I said, you can bring in a Wi-Fi professional if you're not comfortable with this. If you are comfortable getting into recommending and looking at their router and their Wi-Fi setting, you can get like an outdoor access point. That's a great way to extend the Wi-Fi signal outdoors. If you have multiple devices and you want to control them that way, put a Wi-Fi access point outside, and you can get incredible range from that. And that's a benefit to the homeowner as well, because they'll have Wi-Fi all across the property with that.
John, just going back to a question that was asked on by by one of our attendees. Sometimes the Wi-Fi modules go offline and you have to repair them. Any reason why?
Yes. Sometimes they go offline. Usually you don't have to repair them when they go offline. They will get back on automatically most of the time. The reason for that is basically usually the router. So what happens is these devices have an IP address. So they have an address with the router. Some routers do this on a regular basis, some do it only on occasion, but occasionally the router will refresh its IP addresses and disconnect devices. So the device goes to, excuse me, or the app goes to look for the device at an IP address and it's no longer there. So it has to be repaired into the system to have a new IP address registered. Usually when your router refreshes, devices come back in at the same IP. So it's not an issue, but that can be an issue. But it's usually a router problem. You can avoid that as well by having a secondary router. I've seen some installs where that happens, where you'd have a secondary, just a very inexpensive 2.4 gigahertz router. You can pick one up for 20, 30 bucks and run all of your smart devices off of a separate router. And then you don't have to worry about the IP addresses refreshing. But I have seen it happen, and it's a router thing.
John, do you see Dr. Sandy's question? Do we absolutely need to cut into the line powering a fixture?
Oh, no, yeah, absolutely. You can run a new line. You don't need to cut into the existing line. You can put it anywhere in line if you've already got an existing install. You can absolutely run a new line to the Merlin RX. Sorry, I don't know if everyone got that question. Do we absolutely need to cut into the line powering a fixture to install the Merlin, or on existing install, can I run a new line from the fixture to the Merlin, as it would when adding an override switch? So yeah, this can connect anywhere in line on the 12-volt side, but you can certainly run a new line to it if it's going in an area where you don't already have power. But if you do, yeah, you can just tap into the existing line and run it from that, but you can absolutely run a new line to it. It just needs 12-volt power. It doesn't matter where it comes from. Any other questions from the old questions that we haven't answered or addressed?
John, I believe at this moment we are all caught up with the questions and answers.
Sorry, James. Oh, that's James asked a question that was answered. Okay. All right, all caught up with the questions. We will follow up. You'll get a survey in the coming to you at the end of the webinar. We'll invite you to our next webinar if you guys are interested. If you have any questions, again, reach out to us at any time. Let me throw up some.
If we have not answered any of your questions, we'll go over it and we'll reach out and answer it. You can always, if it's not to our personal email address at Illumicare, you can always reach us at sales@illumicaregroup.com, and we'll make sure you're looked after.
Yeah. Multiple ways to reach us. Sales goes to all of us, so we'll all see it to reach out to us individually. Of course, if you want to order, throw an order to orders at Illumicare Group, and Illumismart at illumicaregroup.com. That's the one we use for troubleshooting any issues on the Illumismart devices. Just keep that separate. But hopefully you've gained from this. First of all, what we really wanted to get across was the importance of kind of doing a site survey first, knowing what you're going to be running into, knowing how to best go about the install. I was going through this with Anthony the other day at his own home, and he was like, wow, this is, so you might have a stronger signal on the left side of the house than the right side of the house. Good to know that, because you might be able to put the transformer on either side. You might be going into a site where the Wi-Fi signal just sucks. You know, we've all seen that and been on those. You know, my house practically glows. You know, you can get you can catch my Wi-Fi signal halfway down the street, because I have teenage kids that don't want to look like newbies when they're playing Fortnite and Call of Duty. So we've got good strong Wi-Fi, but not everybody does. But know that beforehand, before you're going in, and be able to have a couple of tools in your tool belt to either get around that, the Merlin hub issue way, or, you know, recommending a router upgrade, or recommending something like an outdoor access point. So if there's no further questions here, we're going to be shutting this down. You're gonna, like I said, you'll get a survey coming out, and this recording will also be made available to you, so you can come back here and refer to it at any time. So want to thank everybody for your time and attending, and hopefully we've answered some questions and given you a little education on Wi-Fi systems.
Yes, thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Stay safe. Let's go make some money.